ديمة خير وعطاء ويمام نقاء وسخاء يا نجما شع فأبهجنا يا شعلة نور وضاء.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Marve.
I'm Yomna, and welcome to another episode of Sisters of Sunnah.
Today we're going to be discussing about self-development in Islam. And maybe I can start off with a hadith, inshallah. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim. So I want to kind of underline the every Muslim because it's not just for men, it's for women, so it's for us as well. And I think it's really important to educate ourselves, and the importance of educating and knowledge is that you can spread it around your family, your neighbors, your community. And when we think about that, when we think about the revelation of the when we think about the revelation to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, it's mentioned in Surah Al-Alaq that read in the name of the Lord who created. So even with that, we can understand the importance of learning, and it's never too late to learn. There's no age limit to learn. And it's, of course we're learning about our deen, and it's a must. So it's not really an option. So you have to do it. And
there's a wisdom to it, right? I mean, subhanAllah, the wisdom of having the first word revealed in the entire Quran, having it be iqra, read. SubhanAllah, it could have been something related to worship or something, but it was read. And that really just kind of underlines the importance of, as much as it's important, all of our other acts of worship, of course, have to be a number one priority in our lives, but the essence of that seeking knowledge. And this is seen so many other times, whoever seeks, knowledge in one way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring that reward back several fold. Whoever takes one step towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will come running towards him. These types of narrations just really underline the importance of seeking knowledge, reading, and that this is the essence of the Muslim. The Muslim is not just someone who prays and fasts and goes to the masjid, but someone who seeks knowledge, is working on improving themselves and learning more and sharing that knowledge to benefit their community as well.
And it's not just our deen. Of course, that is the one that we're supposed to focus on mainly. But with that, I think whatever you're actually interested in too, it could be science, it could be art, anything beneficial to you in the long run as well, whatever is good for you, and that you can, again, I think knowledge is really important when you spread it. It's not just for yourself. You don't learn anything just for yourself. And maybe we can be open-minded about who you can learn it from. So you can sometimes learn something from a person that's younger than you as well. So maybe be a bit open-minded about that too. I think because before, when I was little, it was the older people knew everything and the younger just it's not for you to speak. But now I think it's kind of changing, and I don't know, I really love that change, to be honest.
Of course, I mean, there's so much wisdom to be learned from, our elders, from those who have experienced more, learned more before us. But like you said, I mean, it's not this just one-way relationship. I mean, there's so much to be learned from those that are younger than us, and there's so many examples in the Sunnah as well. And even the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, sought advice from companions that were much younger than him, or even at the time, even children, maybe even 14 years old, and in these positions of leadership, that he would consult with them and advise from them, and never once did he kind of make them out to be you're too young, just listen to what we're saying, and this type of thing. But there's many examples of when even the Prophet ﷺ, who is the leader of this society and who everyone consults, would even seek opinions from those that are younger. So there's a lot to be said about this kind of relationship that goes both ways, for sure. Absolutely. And I think one thing that we don't talk about sometimes is that, of course we talk a lot about, seeking our knowledge for for our religious purposes, to improve ourselves in our deen, but also the importance of, this command of iqra when it comes to worldly affairs as well, in terms of our education, seeking knowledge on other topics as well. As long as we're keeping that balance, right? And the balance, the balance. I mean, so many things in our deen. And this, we see in Surah Al-Qasas, there is an ayah that says, and seek through that which Allah has given you, the home of the hereafter, but do not forget your share of the world. And so this is kind of a beautiful ayah that speaks to the importance of balance in terms of, seek the knowledge when it comes to, deen and religion, Quran, etc. But also it's important to seek knowledge when it comes to, getting your education, when it comes to knowing about, the world you live in, because at the end of the day, the good Muslim is the balanced Muslim that, is able to manage both. So of course, too much focus on the worldly aspect distracts us from the deen. And there's always needs to be this balance between deen and dunya. But at the end of the day, they're both important.
They are, and I think it's kind of important. Like, Allah is perfect, like we are not, and I think trying to be like perfect can cause arrogance, and arrogance can kind of destroy faith. So I think, yes, of course, we try to get better and we try to improve. But just keep in mind that, like, we're human beings and we have flaws and we're always trying to get better. So that's why I think balance is important there too. Like, just don't overdo anything. Don't get yourself overwhelmed. Just like, balance everything. I keep saying it because really balance is key. So,
Right. And the balance isn't necessarily like I'm gonna spend half my time here, half my but it's more about just, you center your life around your deen. So I'm balancing both in that I am structuring my day around my 5 prayers rather than trying to fit them into my work schedule. For example, like my foundation is, I start my day after Fajr, and then I, build my day around the rest of the prayers rather than trying to do it the other way around. So it's a simultaneous thing, where, it's not that I need to spend time on one and then spend time on the other. Like I'll spend 1 hour. It's not like that's all I need.
that's true.
Exactly. But it's kind of, we should be building our lives in a way that is centered around this anyways. And there's so much, hikmah and wisdom in the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed these things for us, whether it be, our prayers or Quran or any of these things. And there are reasons why it's beneficial for us. Even, for example, Fajr, even if you're not a morning person, there is a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ says that the barakah of my ummah is in the morning. And I don't know about you, but personally, I start my day really early after Fajr or whatever. I'm so much more productive. SubhanAllah. Even if I
Your energy can on another level, right?
absolutely staying 1 hour in the morning is not the same 1 hour. So even it's beneficial for us to be able to kind of use these, even if we don't understand the hikmah to something, this is the reason why we should be centering our life around it.
No, true. And like you said, I think when you build your life around it, like, for example, if you're meeting up with friends, like, maybe try and pick a coffee shop or a place that's closer to a mosque. So whenever you hear the prayer, you can just go. It takes like 5 minutes. So you can just go and maybe get that done and, like, just take it off, because, like, when you meet up, you talk, like, time goes by and, like, you don't really notice. So maybe, like, changing the places that you go to, like, changing very little, but it can still, like, balance your life.
Absolutely. And this balance is not just about, it's not just about like our productivity or, it's for our own benefit, but also even when I think about, for example, like our mental health. Having a balance between deen and dunya is so incredibly important in making sure that, our mental health is where it needs to be, making sure that we kind of stay healthy. And then when one shifts out of focus, when our dunya comes to take over a little bit too much and we're no longer balancing that with deen, I think that's where a lot of us start to
struggle so much.
Right, exactly. And we start to feel that in many different aspects of our lives. And subhanAllah, I think maybe when we all think about it, we can relate to a time where, it's something went out of balance. And then subhanAllah, when you notice it and when you start to kind of take that action and try and equilibrate that, subhanAllah, like things start to go a lot smoother.
And I think when you lose the balance, like in mental health, you do get unhappy. Like this piece, this something just really, I think, starts going away. I don't know. It's like that for with me. Like when I lose the balance, it's just this happiness just starts fading, and something is happening, and then I can be like, okay, like something just went wrong here. I've been changing something and that I shouldn't have changed.
Yeah.
So then I reset again. Like it's okay to have problems too. Like I think we should always like focus on like solutions and how we can get better, you know? Like it's okay to go through a hard time. It's okay to kind of mess up with balance, like, but just get back on track. Like, just don't let that kind of take control of you and say, oh, like, you messed up already. Like, no point in going back. Instead of doing that, like, just, yes, I messed up. Okay, let's just start over. Like, today's a new day. Like, every day's a new day, So, yeah.
Yeah, and not even just like it starts with like one small habit. And one of the things that I love about uh Islam is that there's an emphasis on consistency. And the hadith that the best actions are those that are consistent even if they're small.
Yeah.
So it's starting with like every day, just like the most bare minimum, like how you just wake up and pray 2 rak'ahs before Fajr, just none. And then but I will do that every day, even if it's just or I will read one page of Quran after Fajr, and every day. And then as that becomes, more of a simple, what it becomes more of like a conscious habit, then slowly you build up. But this idea of like very slowly taking these steps to build a routine, manage your time, makes it,
And actually, like you just mentioned, like, managing time, I think if you have discipline, I think discipline is like the like number one step you have to take. Like without discipline, you can't really manage any time. And especially now, I think like time flies. Like, how they used to say, oh, time flies. But now I think it's like in turbo speed. Like, I don't know how a week ends and how the other one starts. And like when we're talking about, I'm sorry. Okay. About like time management, because Allah swears by time in Surah Al-Asr, by time indeed, mankind is in loss. I mean, it kind of shows how valuable our time is and how every minute counts. I know that we all try to make like something out of it and we try to get better. Like we always say, like, of course, get better. But like time, like to manage it, of course, I want to say like setting maybe clear goals. So I don't think when you're setting a goal, don't be too harsh on yourself and don't put a goal that's gonna put you in a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah. Just something with my mind. So like yeah, it should be realistic and it should be something that you can achieve. So that with the achievement, like you're gonna get motivated more because you're like, oh okay, like I did it, I can do it. But otherwise, if you just put like a hard task on the line and you're trying so hard and you don't get there, then you're gonna be like, okay, like, oh, it's not for me, I can't do it. So instead of with that, just like we said earlier, like start slow, like baby steps, because it's important to like whatever you put in your routine, it's important to do it every day. So it's not just, oh, I'll just do it for a month and then like, I'll just take a break. But like whatever you put in your daily routine, it should be like manageable and you should put something that you can do every day. And like we said about praying on time, maybe like, of course, yes, the 5 prayers, like we do pray, but maybe kind of put it on your list as like, on time, other than
Right.
just that part, like, not like last minute prayer, or like the minute that you hear it,
As
just
soon as that then goes off, then
exactly, like just praying it on time, like, maybe have that on your list, and like, I don't think we have any excuses anymore about like, how am I gonna like, but where am I gonna take notes? How am I gonna do it? Like, like with apps that are like, online that help you out. It like reminds you when it's prayer time and you can even take notes and like, just have your goals set even on your like phone. It doesn't have to be an agenda. But they have like planners online as well that you can buy. And my brother's wife recently purchased one, and she bought one for me too as like a gift.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And yeah, I was like, oh, and it actually makes you put like weekly goals other than like,
The whole monthly.
exactly, like, because that can be maybe challenging. But instead of that, like, it's weekly, so you can kind of keep it simple.
And it's easier to keep up with. You know, you can see the progress.
Yeah. And like, I think there's like tasbih like that you can just tick off. Like, I don't know, it was very beneficial. I think like, we can research, and like I said, we have no excuses to like, oh, I couldn't manage, or I didn't know where to take notes. I didn't know what to like. We have so many options right now, like, so I think we can like research on how we can first maybe find the right app for you or the right planner for you. And I think writing helps.
Putting things to paper definitely.
Yeah.
Even if it's typing it or whatever it is, just having it written somewhere as some form of that goal, I think definitely helps it become.
Yeah. And I want to actually tell a hadith about like, this. I think it summarizes the whole time management and when you should do what. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, take advantage of 5 before 5. So your youth before your old age, your health before your sickness, your wealth before your poverty, your free time before preoccupation, and your life before your death. Like,
This is such an important one.
mhm.
Like to think about when it comes to managing your time, but not just managing it, but making the most of it. Making
Like using it to help.
using it. Yeah, you're using it because we will be asked about the time that we had and how we spent it. And
What we told him was like,
That
it's
would-
stuff. Like, even the time, if you wasted it, it might even be stuff. Like, because right now, maybe when you're managing your time, you can just look at your life or look at your daily routine and what you waste time with. So if there are like distractions in it, then maybe try to eliminate that or minimalize it. Of course, like, we use social media or like, to inform, like, to give information, but sometimes it could be like, more than information. So maybe if the more part is distracting us, like from the main purpose, then maybe like, kind of minimize that and maybe put like an hour limit for yourself.
Right.
Live a little day, like, so you could like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So that like, you do still do what you want to do, but you're maybe like mainly focused on the important part, like, what you should be doing in general, with like, managing your time.
And like little by little, like you know yourself and you know what goals are manageable for you. So if you're someone who spends a lot of time on social media, maybe it's not going to be very hectic to just like delete everything and then of hours. Maybe it's like, okay, I will gradually. So again, it comes back to this idea of like consistency, even if it's something small.
Mhm.
Like I'll gradually take this step.
And I like taking it slow and like, because I think, like, I don't know, maybe I'm like that as a character. If I just rush into something, I just get overwhelmed. So I think these kind of things are not something that you can rush into. Like, while you're researching and you're learning about your deed and you're putting it in your daily routine, you really have to like believe what you read and just really feel it. Then it actually, I think the effect of that is something different. So instead of like rushing and putting a lot of tasks and just like, kind of putting it too much for yourself, and when you can't do it, then it's like, oh, like I'm like, it was just too much, and like, it aids away. Yeah. So like you said, like, consistency, yes, it's important, but like slow. I think being slow is kind of like a big step to me too, like, personally.
Of course. So, I mean, we talked about a lot of different things, managing our time, building ourselves up, keeping the balance, avoiding procrastination and, making sure that we're taking advantage of 5 before 5. So I think, so it's just some things to remember that with every single one of these actions that we're taking, this is all every one of these is a step that brings us closer towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even if it's something that seems as simple as like, I'm managing my time, I'm making a schedule, whatever it is, when we're doing this with the intention of improving ourselves and our deen and becoming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then inshallah these are all, things that we will be they will be considered acts of worship that we will benefit us, inshallah. So just to wrap up, let's remember that self-development is a lifelong journey, and there's always, always something that we can be, improving in ourselves. And hopefully, inshallah, once we set these small goals, we reach them, we set new goals, and it's this continuous journey of, inshallah, always becoming a better version of ourselves. So Jazakumullah khairan for joining us today. If you found this beneficial, please share it with your friends and family. Let us know your thoughts, and inshallah together we can grow and become better sisters and better help and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So thank you so much, and we will see you on the next episode, inshallah.
يا ديمة خير وعطاء ويمام نقاء وسخاء يا نجما شع فأبهجنا يا شعلة نور وضاء يا ديمة